What's up, gang? I'm Tucker.
I'm Michelle.
I'm Alexandra.
I'm Ryan.
And I'm Lex.
And we are SLYCK.
And this is Kimmy. Does she look annoyed?
Yes.
She's squished, separated from her friends, and just about to give up on this college bar. She wishes she could get drinks for her and her friends without bowing to crowds.
And this is Lionel. Does he look frustrated?
It appears so.
He has to deal with a lot of crowds and competing orders and groups of people holding up the lines by being indecisive about what they want.
When it comes to the bar industry, there are frustrations on both sides. That's why we created SLYCK. Our app allows bar goers to order their drinks, close out their tabs, and get their drinks at the bar, all with a few taps. Meanwhile, bartenders can spend more time making drinks and less time battling crowds and payments. It's a fast task for a night out to make every bar experience VIP.
So here's how it works. You select whether you're a bar goer or bartender, sign our terms and conditions, scan your debit or credit card while updating your birth date, select your tip amount, and then edit your profile however you want. Off of geolocation, you select which bar you're going to be at that night, and then you pick your poison between our specials and well drinks. Again, we have a huge list, and then you check out. After you check out, you'll be notified when you're supposed to walk up to the counter where it's going to be distributed to you, and that's about it. Very simple.
As we said, our service is geared towards two main groups. The first group is customers ages 21 through 25 who frequent bars in college towns like Chapel Hill, and bartenders who work at these bars. Our initial startup market will primarily take place in Chapel Hill, in bars in Chapel Hill, where we have plans to expand upon the success to other college towns such as Athens, Georgia, Columbia, South Carolina, Greenville, North Carolina, and Wilmington, North Carolina.
So we surveyed just over 100 people, most of whom we assume are current or former students at UNC. They go out on average once to twice a week, and 85% of them said they would download an app like ours. 81% said that they'd be willing to pay 60 cents more for a $20 bar tab. That's our 3% SLYCK fee. A third said they already use apps like Grubhub and Uber Eats, and a third said that they had lost their card at a bar at least once in the past year. Almost everyone experienced some kind of frustration with crowds and lines when they went out.
So to further our understanding about the bar market in Chapel Hill, we conducted interviews with Juarez, Mine as Well, Goodfellas, Country Fried Duck, and And we wanted to get an idea of the main frustrations that bartenders face on busy nights, and we found that much of it stemmed from the large amount of orders they have to deal with at once, and also the huge crowds. So by digitizing transactions, SLYCK has the potential to minimize the traffic at the bar, while also relieving some of the pressure that bartenders experience while handling multiple drink orders at once. And we think that SLYCK has a really great business opportunity because it provides value for both bar goers and bartenders.
After completing our competitor analysis, we realized there are only 3 other companies with similar ideas. However, 2 of these companies failed in their startup or app launch, and the only company that did show success, SpeedyTab, ended up taking a huge pivot, targeting mostly coffee shops and cafes. This basically leaves our market untouched of our target market of college students, and we basically have the floor to do whatever we want to next.
So like we said, we want to start in the Chapel Hill market, and we plan to start with a soft launch that will happen at Country Fried Duck on one of their busiest nights of the week, so that way we can make sure there are the most customers that will use our app. Every bar goer that downloads the app that night will have their first drink on us, and we will use the bar's social media as well as ours to market that soft launch. The rest of our marketing will happen through paid advertising in Instagram and Facebook, as well as social media that bars use and we use. And we also have college ambassadors.
So as I said, our revenue stream will come from a 3% fee that's charged on every bar tab that's completed through the app. Our startup costs mostly come from initial app development, paying for an office in Chapel Hill, and getting initial signage and marketing materials to start launching in our bars in Chapel Hill. In year 2, we'll be expanding to a second college campus, and in year 3, we'll be expanding to a third. In both locations, we'll have to bring on additional staff, pay for new offices, bring on more college ambassadors, and increase our marketing budget. We won't be paying ourselves for the first 3 years. This is a passion project for us, so we'll be breaking even between year 1 and year 2.
Cheers, everyone, and we'll take any further questions.
I want to hear what Taylor has to say. Since
he's the app developer, right?
No, I actually think it's
a good idea and definitely a problem. A few initial questions. One, any ideas why the apps in the space that you had mentioned as potential competitors failed?
Yeah, so the two ones that failed are called Unite and Rad. Rad started with an initial investment of $40,000. Whenever they carried through, they actually started as a college startup too, but they only targeted, I think they came out of Clemson, the Clemson market. They tried to pivot very quickly into restaurants with bars instead of actual like college student bar night, how we have like our huge Franklin idea. In huge college towns, they kind of avoided all of that. Where that really slowed down all their stuff, and then in their actual launch development, they held a launch night, and their app completely crashed on them. There are tons of review sections just showing where it said like none of their app stuff would work from the actual customers that were trying to use it, and after they initially failed their first startup launch, it just kind of died out from there. Unite started out of Boston. They started in 2 different locations. They never even built an app platform. They were just kind of trying to make it work out of their 2 bars. They set it more for clubbing and not as much on just a college platform-based town. With that being said, like there's just not as high demand in that location, and with them, without producing an app development, they never took off, and they ended up just kind of killing their idea real quickly.
That's it. Yeah, I think the biggest thing just from this presentation that you guys should include, so you obviously have like tech development and then marketing expense, but the biggest missing component where if you could figure it out, I think it could work, would be the cost per sale. So you have to figure out.
Yeah, who's paying that 3% fee, the customer or the bar?
The
Customer.
Yeah, but not even just the revenue side, but the business acquisition side. So how much is it going to cost you to get a salesperson or a student intern to go around and sign up? Might as well tell them how to use it, to onboard the menu, to sign up whatever the bar is in Wilmington and in California eventually. So if you can figure out how to onboard customers for cheap or for less than what you can make in terms of revenue, that'd be a good business.
So what kind of potential regulations are you facing if you're selling alcohol to potentially minors over an app?
So we are not selling alcohol. We are a business for the bar. So they give us their menus and everything, and we help them regulate and manage that to make it, to help streamline their process and make it easier on them and keep the customer happy.
So then why do you need their credit card info?
Because we work with, what is that?
Hehlen.
Yeah. We will work with, tell them what that is. Yeah.
So Hehlen is a third-party system where basically it's like a Venmo. Venmo, how Starbucks does, they all have apps that transfer the payment process. Ours is set up for bars. We would use them to do the money portion of it, but basically with the legal.
Who IDs the person?
Sorry?
Who IDs the
We're
customer?
putting the responsibility on the
bar.
bar.
That's on the bar.
Do they make the drink before they ID him?
No. And they can't, so.
Well, yeah, the drink is waiting for them when they get to the bar, and it's up to the bar to ID that person to get them their drink, and that's something that we have to include in our terms and conditions.
Bars?
So does that incentivize the bar to, because the drink's already made and wasted if the person's not 21, to just hand the drink out anyway?
No.
Or to wait till the person actually gets there to make the drink, because you don't want to make the drink and then be like, oh wait, they're not 21.
Most
So,
bars will ID though also at the
Yeah.
doors.
Yeah.
That's the big thing is as we're talking to these bars and forming partnerships, we're gonna make it clear, talk about these things. But since these are college bars, most of them are IDing at the door, and if they don't do that, then there's already liability with them being in that institution.
Yeah.
So we are putting the responsibility and the liability on the bars, and we will be working with them. We will be very transparent when we are establishing these partnerships, just to make sure everything's worked out and making sure if they don't ID at the door, then that's something we can talk about.
It's good to note too, in the interviews we've done with the bars in town, they all are on board with that type of system as well.
ID at the door.
Yeah.
yes, and they can't order until their geolocation shows that they are at that bar. So you can't be waiting in line and then order your drink. The reason that we have pick which bar you're at is if there's bars that are right next door, based on geolocation you can say, or how Country Fried Duck used to have that one bar on top of it, that's, they're in the same building, so you
And
can't.
is the geolocation going to be precise enough to discern whether you're outside in a line or inside?
Yeah. No?
It's great
great in theory. That's basically the business I work in. And doing indoor locations is really, really difficult unless you have some sort of third-party technology to figure out it there.
Okay.
But the idea is fantastic. I give it some quick bits of feedback. There was a slide up there that said it looked like this app was going to slow things down. I think I either read that wrong or it's up there wrong. So I read that, I'm like, holy cow! Like,
Or the value to the bar is to slow things down to their bartenders so they can keep up.
yeah, that's like, if I'm a bartender, I want things to go faster doing that. Like, I want to get drinks out the door and get stuff off my plate. So that, in terms of just how you phrase it and telling your story, think about that differently. And then also think, the idea of a launch night is great, but don't pick it like the most busiest night for a bar. Like, that's where the other ones fail, right? So you're going to have a VIP event of your ambassadors and 3 select friends or whatever that may be, so that if things do go wrong, you got friendlies. You know?
And as a last thought, there's also plugins and APIs for companies that support ID checks. So you could also have them take a picture of their credit card and their ID to verify that they're 21.
And I would try and talk to the owner too, because a lot of the time the bartender will try and be like, no, I'm fast enough. I don't need a system behind me printing out other tickets. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen it, like, think of it like a pizza place or a sandwich place where you got the line in front of you and the call-ins. Like, frequently it's annoying to get the call-ins. You're like, I just want to bust out this line in front of me. People work in retail or restaurant, right? But if you get the owner on board, it doesn't so much matter what the employees think. You know, if the owner thinks it's a good system and it thinks it's going to be more efficient and thinks they'll sell more volume. So I would think in your presentation about saying, trying to find ways to talk to people who actually own the bar, because they're going to make the decision over the bartender anyway.
We talked to the manager of CFD and he was so excited about it. He was like, put up a sign, let's do it, let's launch it now.
Especially in one of their bars where they only have one register and they have multiple wells. And he was like, this would definitely help us in this part of the bar, and that's where we would put it.
Right, it'd be nice to be able to be 20 feet away. It's totally annoying to have to always go back to the register. And if you have 3 bartenders, you lose that advantage of the one register.
Exactly.
What is the incentive structure for the college ambassadors?
So we plan to model that based off like other, like we've seen a lot of other like startups like ours that have functioned like in Chapel Hill, and they're going to be unpaid, primarily just like experience, like with social media, like experience to build their resume. So they'll probably be like underclassmen, and we're going to offer just like merchandise for them, so like merchandise for them to keep and also to share with their friends. So it's more of just like building an experience of like representing a company using social media and like brand strategy, essentially.
And we also realized that a lot of college students are under 21, so it would waste our money if we just had them go around campus and give out free shirts to a lot of people who couldn't even use the app legally. So one thing we were thinking is to give them essentially a budget to have a SLYCK get-together at a certain bar, and they can invite a certain number of people and get more people to sign on to the app that way.
So they would also need to be 21?
Yes. Absolutely.
How compelling is or isn't the first drink on you? It sounds pretty compelling to me, and I'm curious if you're going to have a retention problem after that drink one, or do you even need drink one if this problem is such a pain point that people are going to sign on and pay the fee regardless?
I think that once you get your first drink on us, you would still have to, get it through the app. Seeing how easy and quick it was just to go ahead and get that, then you would be more inclined to use it again to get your second drink versus going and waiting in the lines to get it.
Yeah, I think just like once they have it downloaded, like that's the big thing, is like we are offering that, so they go and download it and then it's already on their phones, so they have to like actively make a decision to like delete it, and there's like a greater probability that it just stays on their phone, and once they see like how easy it is to use, they'll probably end up using it again.
I think that's an assumption that you would have to test. You might be right, but yeah.
Yeah, that would definitely, that's based on our assumption as like phone users and like just people our age, but we definitely have to like see how that translates in actuality.
Yep, interesting.
A lot of what we heard in our customer interviews is that people don't like spending time in line at the bar because they want to spend more time with their friends. And if you're able to have a launch event where a whole friend group comes together and they all order through the app, you kind of have that friend effect going, that if you're going out with that same group again the next night, maybe somebody in the group will remember, oh, let's use this app and try it again. But that's a great point that we should do further interviews to determine that.
One way you could point out how desperate people are for something like this is at the really nicest, fanciest bars in America, people get bottle service. Because they're not messing around with going back to the bar over and over again. Because it is really annoying. But I wonder about the dissonance. Somewhere in your presentation you were talking about 1/3 of the people you talk to use Grubhub or Uber Eats. And then you say 85% of the people you talk to would use your app. It just feels like I wouldn't put those statistics up against each other because they're so big. Their brand's so recognized. Only a third of the people you talk to use that. It makes your statistic sound overclaimed, even if it's true, maybe.
This might, I don't know if this is silly or not, but I've seen people take the raw drinks from like a Starbucks pickup. So what are the odds that someone, especially if they're intoxicated, is gonna just take a drink?
So we only showed on our app how this works from the bar goer side. On the bartender side, they will have the person's profile. They make their profile, their picture there, and they're not going to stick the drinks up the way they do at Starbucks. They'll have it behind the bar, and you walk up and they, I'm so-and-so. Oh, here you go.
So would one bartender kind of need that as their job, just giving the drinks out? Because
there are two options. You can have one bartender just assigned to the SLYCK well in the bar, or you can have multiple bartenders all signed onto the app with their personal code, and they can see which orders have come through, and they can, if Joey has fulfilled it, he says got it, and then the other Michael can see that Joey's making the drink. So you could have multiple people going on it at once.
Okay, great questions. Thank you guys.